Okay, what about now? Say something now.
I'm saying things.
Oh my god, we did it.
There we go. Awesome.
I don't know why
E-
Discord gets really finicky about that.
Every time we try and talk on Discord.
All right, now I have to figure out how to pop out and then hide members. And then we did it. Now I have to resize you.
Just make me bigger. Make me true to scale.
I think we did it.
You've made me very large.
How does that look? I think we got it. It's Flo kids each other every day. What's going on? How are you?
Yeah, man. It's been a long time. It's I forgot what you look like.
I know. Your beard has gotten more full
I
and
know,
luxurious.
right? Isn't it amazing? Look at
Jesus.
and I can do this with my mustache now, watch this.
Holy crap. You
Right?
have so much testosterone in your body.
I know, just running through me, right?
Coursing through your veins.
I know. I just got hair everywhere. You should see what it looks like under here.
You have like the Austin Powers thing going on?
I'm a little bit woolly. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I don't have a lot of back hair.
That's probably good though. That's good.
I got one or two random shoulder hairs, but it's I'm pretty much got. If I didn't shave, I'd have hair from the top of the head to the bottom of my big toe.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't get that gene. Like as you can see, like I got.
No, it's a terrible gene. It's a terrible gene to have.
Like I don't shave this.
I remember being incredibly self-conscious, especially when I was younger, and I was getting a little bit fresh with some girl or another, and she'd try and slip her hand up my shirt, and I'd be like, "No, don't do that, don't do that."
Like whoa, hold on.
Because like women are, right? Women are they look at the magazines and they have this ideal that they sort of are told they have to aspire to, the skinny model kind of thing. And the same thing kind of happens with guys as well, right?
Right.
We have to be the muscular sort of bare-chested kind of. You see the guys on TV, like just off the top of my head, like Chris Hemsworth when he's in actually the Thor movies and stuff.
Right.
And he's got no hair except for his face, and that's the ideal. And like,
That makes sense.
It's the same thing with dude. Yeah.
Yeah, like I never really. I mean, it's one of those like my self consciousness and awkwardness is because I have the body of a teenage girl, and for a guy that doesn't work. I mean, if you're a teenage girl, that's great, but for being an adult male, having the body of a 12-year-old girl doesn't really. So that.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays I'm 90 kilograms, which I think is around 180 pounds. That wasn't always so. So I used to be 70, and I'm not sure what 70 kilograms used to be, but it's quite small for a 6'1" guy. So I had this very skinny frame.
70
and
grams. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah.
154. So that's I'm about. Well, actually, I'm probably close to that now because I've been putting on weight. My best was about 131 that I got to.
That's tiny. But yeah, so I was always, of course, I wasn't this big muscular guy. So my family got that gene. My dad's ex-military. He's broad. My brother came out of the uterus just wide. I got the skinny tall gene.
Right.
So you get judged for that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think maybe that's why we get along. Like maybe we just knew we were, separated by the universe and continents because I also have my father's
joined
huge.
by our physique.
Yeah,
exactly.
My dad wears a size 15 ring. I don't know half the ring sizes. Do ring sizes is that universal?
I think ring size is universal.
Like his one finger is like this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. My dad's the same. Like my dad's like I've got quite large hands. But my dad's are about the same, but they're kind of like those muscular hands that have been like picking up steel beams and smashing rocks into smaller rocks, kind of thing. But I've got like very, very delicate little soft, very soft hands.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm with you on that. That's
yeah. But exactly. So, what were we talking about?
I don't even know. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to change
let's go for it.
I'm going to change my title to this. I'm going to start. I'm going to start our Stream Raiders game right quick too.
Oh yeah, cool. That sounds like fun.
So let's.
I will play with you. Hold on, let me open up a spare tab.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully my scene stays when I switch. All right. So I'm going to drop. Where are we at here? I think we should go. Yeah, we're going to go for the chest. We're going to go for the chest, the treasure chest.
Everybody loves chests.
Everybody loves the chests. So I'm going to drop... We're going to go with the warrior. I'm going to drop him right here. Get in. It worked. We're back. And we're back! As somebody says that.
Yeah.
Syndra, what is Syndra? Syndra says what pisses me off about societal standards is that it really gives people a complex that really shouldn't have them. Not to be a creeper, both of you are good-looking men. Syndra.
I get told a lot. Like I'm not trying to stroke my own ego because I don't feel like this, but I get told a lot that I'm a relatively handsome guy. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way because when I was growing up, I wasn't looked at by a woman or, as teenage girls, and then later on adult women, like I was a handsome guy. I was always passed over for the more muscular guys, and I never understood it because, sure, you've got a nice physique, but you've got a face that looks like it was dragged across the road for 20 days.
Right.
And then you see, sort of as I grew up, I don't know, maybe women lost their taste. Sorry, I'm putting down my men. I don't know, but yeah, I get told that I'm handsome, but I'm found handsome, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. I'm incredibly self-conscious. I have no self-esteem. Being streaming is just every day when I turn on the camera and I'm kind of like sitting here like, oh shit, my hair, I have to make my hair look nice, twist out the beard, make sure, dress nicely, because I'm just so self-conscious, and it's kind of like, and I think it's got what Syndra is saying is that it comes down to how society views you, or how society views beauty, where again, with women, you have to be, we still do it now, but I think there's a bit of it. It's changing a bit with women. There's it's become more accepted that, you can kind of be different sizes are beautiful, and you're seeing that when it comes to models. There's different size models with different, and each of them have different sort of assets to them, and so everybody's sort of accepting beauty as different standards. I don't know so much if that's kind of changing for men,
right?
I don't know, but I don't see it. I still see that the same kind of guys are always the more appealing,
right?
And yeah, that's just
it's true though, yeah, because and this might be a bit of an insensitive topic because a lot of times if a woman is not a model type, then it becomes, well, you should accept me for who I am. And it's like, well, then why are these hot women not dating fat, ugly dudes? Like, doesn't it work the same way? Like, fat, ugly dudes should be dating supermodels, and supermodels, like if you... there does seem to be, again, it's a bit insensitive, and probably rubs people the wrong way, but it does seem to be a bit of a double standard sometimes, because attractive women...
Oh, I absolutely get what you're trying to say, and this is not to take away from the steps that and all the progress that women have made, and trying to degrade their argument at all.
Right.
We're not trying to do that. We're also just trying to say that from the other perspective, there is another argument to be made that, sometimes the same standards aren't withheld for men.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's just women have this sort of a lot of women still have the standard that this is the kind of guy that they want, and they won't even give you the time of day. Like, they will date absolute scumlords,
Yeah.
rather than even talk to you, and it's kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah. It is. It's a very interesting dynamic. And yeah, like because I do the same thing. Like I whatever. And actually, before I say that, before I talk about me, we're going to talk about you. So the self-secure or the self-image thing, has it helped by being in front of a camera? Do you feel that
Does it
improves?
help? I don't know. I don't. It's definitely not made it worse. I wouldn't say it's made it better.
Yeah.
There's been other Sindra, and I appreciate that again. Thank you so much. But there's been other women that have obviously come into my streams over since I started streaming, and come in and been like, "Haha, you so cute," and again, this is not an ego thing, because like I don't feel that way. But again, they have come in and said that to me, and yeah, I don't feel like it registers. It just sort
Right.
of I don't know what it is. It is just my self-esteem is so trash that I can't even accept it, sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Like I've known some of the and I don't really talk a whole lot about it on stream because it's not totally relevant. But like I know a lot of YouTubers that are vapors, and there are a lot of them that are comfortable enough to shoot a video, but
Mm.
had a lot of anxiety issues about doing things live, worrying about stammering over their words, or like how to interact with chat. Like doing a video is a little bit separated from being in front of a person or being in front of a camera doing something live. And but I do know a lot of those people have kind of gotten out of their shell. Like a lot of people that had social anxiety and had kind of some of those issues, kind of overcame that by doing video content and doing live streaming and stuff like that. So it's made me curious if it helped, made a positive change on you.
I think that with the streaming and stuff, it's actually, I'm more, just to talk about me in a different light. I've never known what I wanted to do
Right.
with my life. I for a long time. When you get to the end of high school and everybody's all up in your grill saying, "What are you going to do? You're leaving high school. What are you going to do? You're going to go to university. You're going to, do you want to get a career? Do you want to get a trade? What do you want to do?" And I was just like,
Fuck, I don't
and
know.
then I went to university, and I studied like English and philosophy, and I did ceramics. I made clay pots for a
Nice.
while, and eventually I dropped out of university. But again, that's just because I just had no idea what I wanted to do. And then a few years ago, I actually started doing a little bit of YouTube stuff. It didn't get very far because life sort of interrupted that. But I sort of started finding out that I love to do this kind of production kind of stuff. I love really the process that goes into making videos, into editing videos, and then when it comes to streaming, trying to get my production and producing that sort of content. I love that whole process.
Right.
So just making the streams and doing all of that is just so much fun. And the only reason I have my face up there is because people complain because
Right.
they like to see you. Yeah, so I just that's the only reason I have my face there. But I just enjoy doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
I actually had some guy pop into one of my streams. I was doing a late night stream. Just I don't know. I was in a bit of a mood, and I just thought, oh hey, I'll jump on and play some games. And I'll stream. But I had just come out the shower. My hair was like standing straight up, and I thought, okay, I'll hide my camera because I look like shit. And this guy came in. He's like, "Don't you hate it when a streamer doesn't have a camera on? You just want to see." I was like, So I stopped what I was doing. I was like, listen, this is my stream. I look like ass. I don't, it's late at night. I don't really want to show my face to you. If you don't like it, you're more than welcome to piss off.
Right.
But, it's just, I thought that was quite a cocky thing to come in and say.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, because that is true though. Like there's, and I don't fully understand. I mean, I don't know, like, cause I'm kind of the same way, but I've never really worked out what it is, that there's something, I guess it's more personal. If you can see a person, it makes it feel a little more intimate. Like you have a different kind of connection if you're watching a real person, even though you're watching a real person anyway, it somehow makes it different if you can see their face.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get it. I get why people. I watch you and Jericho and all the other guys play and Slip play and whatever streamer I'm actually watching. It's fun to watch them, to see their reactions, to chat to them and see how they react to something you might say. That's why I'm the world's biggest troll.
Right.
When I'm in people's chat, I just say weird shit because I just want to see how you're going to react. And it does. It sort of personalizes that, and I think that's one of the reasons people obviously come to a stream, to come and sort of hang out with somebody that they enjoy and they want to see them doing things.
Yeah. Sindra had a good question, and feel free not to answer. She says, if someone came into the stream and said something negative about your appearance, would you believe them? I guess the opposite of like how you don't really take it if somebody compliments you, where you're kind of like,
I know what's wrong with me. Like I know what's wrong with me physically.
Right.
And I've accepted that. Like I got some man boobies going on here. I put on a lot of purge on my tummy. I got a nice butt. I got like a really nice butt. But I know what's wrong with me, and I'm okay with it. Well, I've accepted it.
Right.
So if you're just going to come onto my stream and be a dick and be like, ha ha ha, you've got a big nose or some shit like that, fuck off.
Right. Yeah.
I know this. And I'm not in the mood for you to be a dick.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I'm kind of with you on that too, because it's like I'm aware of what I'm very aware of what I look like, and if you tell because I get the gamut of everything. I'm sure some people have seen that too. Every once in a while, people pop in stream and say some weird shit, and it's like, yeah, whatever. You're gonna have to try harder if you want to really get under my skin. You're gonna have to try to say something very creative that I've never heard before. Yeah. Steve McGlashan said, my nose is bigger than yours, so you don't have to worry about it. It's fine. And
oh my gosh, I'm so sweet. He just pops in. It's like he just throws those compliments around. It's actually like the first time he's said anything nice-ish about me. So I mean,
I know every once in a while he drops that sweet compliment, that sweet Hollywood compliment.
I don't know. It just makes it feel so special, and then I could just sort of go home, and I won't have to cry so much.
Yeah, cry on a smaller pillow, not my huge cry pillow, but a smaller crying pillow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Floki said, what got me over my insecurities is that I couldn't see why people like being around me, but accepting that they chose to be my friends and accepting that there must be something about me that people like and get value in it, even if I can't see it. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's very accurate, that if because I've always been pretty self-conscious about everything as well, and I kind of got to a point where I just started faking it, and that's part of the hubris tattoo as well. It's like you get to a point where you just decide you're gonna fake it, and you, instead of like thinking, man, I'm a horrible piece of shit, you just like, I'm fucking beautiful and amazing, and you suck. And then
that's it. And I fake it. I mean, I fake it every time I'm on stream. I used to have. I've worked in sales forever, which isn't doing me so well right now. But I worked in sales. I've had to. You've had to do that thing where you kind of have to. I hate people. Don't take that the wrong way, but I hate people in general. Right? I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't care about. I don't care about your problems. And when you're forced to do that sort of interaction, you kind of really have to fake that, and you have to get out there and be like, So how are your kids? I mean, obviously with a little bit more enthusiasm than that,
Right.
and talk to them about stuff. So you just have to. I faked a lot of my interactions, and I suppose actually coming to streaming, it really I don't have to do it. I mean, even on the days where I sort of come in and no one sort of jumps into the stream straight away, and I'm just kind of playing there. I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of like I'm just playing my game, and then somebody will pop in, and usually for the most part it's people that I've known for a bit now, and you know I enjoy chatting to them. I enjoy when they pop in, and except for McLaughlin,
Yeah. Except for that.
but
Fucking
yeah,
Aussie.
exactly. But and I sort of enjoy those kind of interactions. So I suppose yeah, streaming's kind of given me a bunch of new. I'd say friends, like people I chat to on the regular, people I interact with. I mean, I met you through Slipstream. I
Right.
think the first time I remember talking to you, I was about to go on a date.
Yeah. Yeah. I started giving you or not. I don't even. Boosting your confidence, maybe.
Exactly,
Something.
exactly. You were making me feel good, and it ended up being a good date.
I helped.
You did. I don't know what I would have done without you.
Yeah. See, it never would have worked if it would have been a horrible situation.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta change my tank on my my e-cig while we're doing this, and so I'm looking down in case anybody's wondering. So let's circle back to this topic because I think this is something we can. I think this is a good topic for conversation to discuss. However,
Yes.
let's talk about video games.
Video games, yeah.
Yeah,
What do you want to
KZ
know
always
about
talk to
video
me
games?
before a date. KZ, that is exactly accurate.
Actually, it's not a bad idea. Just okay, just because Flitzy was like he psyched me up. He's like, yeah, you're gonna smash. I'm like, yeah, I can smash. He's like, you got this.
Like you got
This
this.
is all in Slip's chat as well.
Right. Like this guy's talking about going on a date, then I'm going to tell him that he is going to do great and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, I was great. She was kind of meh.
Yeah, I remember that because she kind of sucked, but you were good.
Yeah, I was good.
So, what is this? Tywar plus me plus person equals good date. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I gave you good thoughts when you. Oh, that's true, Ashley. We did. Yeah, we boosted you up for meeting the boyfriend's parents.
Ooh.
Told you what to wear and how to act. Told you to wear something slutty and talk about horrible things.
Is that the advice you gave?
Yeah, the good
Wear something
advice.
slutty.
Yeah. So, what is your gaming history? Like, what got you into like your early memories about video games?
I don't have that kind of gaming history that everybody else has. You know, people are talking about playing Pokemon on a Game Boy or playing all sorts of weird older games. My first game, my parents got me some knockoff sort of console that you could slap the old Mario cartridges into, and that was it. You know, my first games were Excite Bike, Ice Climber, Mario Brothers, Tetris, that sort of stuff. That's my earliest gaming experience. And then we got our first PC, which again isn't going to be some fancy PC. You know, like you come into people's chat, they're like, "My first PC was this something something something," and I'm like, "You're old."
Right.
We got this PC, and you know, I played F-22 Raptor, which was a great sim for the time. And my first PC had a 10 gig hard drive, so I could put nothing on it except I could put a game at a time on it.
Right.
And yeah, so I sort of had like a kind of a backwards kind of gaming history, and then I had Heart of Darkness, which I don't know if anybody's played it, but it was a side-scrolling sort of pixelated shooter where you played as this little kid who gets sucked into another dimension to follow his dog. It's actually it's a great game, and
That sounds
it's
familiar.
really, really difficult, and it's really, really funny, and it's got this cool animation and stuff. But yeah, so that was one of my one of the best games I played. And then I had sort of traditional games like StarCraft and Age of Empires, and I love strategy games, and I wish they would make one like that, like they used to. They just don't do that anymore. It's kind of it's really sad that they kind of stopped making strategy games like that. And then I played all the Command and Conquers, played Red Alert, played Command and Conquer Generals. I've had a really rich and varied history with strategy games, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 came out, and that all changed. And I was a FPS boy for ages. Played Call of Duty, played Battlefield. I still play Rainbow Six Siege every now and then. You know, you got to lean into it,
right?
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my gaming history. Just drips and drabs of whatever I could get, because my parents weren't rich enough to get me all the fancy consoles.
Right. Now, speaking of childhood, were you raised in South Africa?
You're talking, but I can't hear you.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sorry, I forget my caps lock is set to mute on Discord, or it's set to push to mute instead of push to talk. And I forgot I hit caps when I typed something earlier, so it was on.
Yeah.
So speaking of childhood, were you raised in South Africa?
Yeah. So I lived in South Africa up until I was 23. Okay. I lived in a part of South Africa that's not called KwaZulu-Natal. That's, if anybody knows, that's where Durban is. So that's on the, trying to think of my geography. It's on the east side of South Africa, and it's actually a beautiful place to live, and that's where I grew up. I was born in a town called Pietermaritzburg. Spent most of my life in, well, not a city called Pietermaritzburg. I spent most of my life a few kilometers away in a town called Howick. And we bounced around sort of that general area my whole life. My dad went into the army, so the way it worked is you had to spend 2 years in the army serving, and he sort of went into the army. He was stationed in what is now Angola, which was Southwest Africa back when he was younger, and he was out there fighting the communists. And so he's fighting the communists and the Cubans, actually. So the Cubans were sending people to go fight there as well. And he sort of came home, and he kind of struggled to find jobs. He did sort of odd jobs, doing his best, but sort of never being able to really provide for us. So my mom was also working at the same time, and didn't see much of them during the day. We got dropped off at school, and then I was off to after school, and then I'd see them at night for dinner, and then straight to bed, and that was pretty much my whole interaction with them.
Right.
So because of my dad, we kind of bounced around a lot. So we lived for a little bit in Zululand. So Zululand is kind of like what, the Indian reservations that you guys have, the Native American reservations where they sent all the Native Americans. It's kind of what the apartheid government did to the black people in South Africa, is they segregated them out into different areas. So there was Zululand, there was Transkei, there was a couple of other these sort of designated areas for the black people to live. And if they wanted to leave that, they had to have like all their papers so that they could go to the cities to work. You kind of had to apply to work in the city. So when I was younger, Zululand was kind of this whole segregation business was coming to an end. And so while the black people are now starting to move out of these areas to go and find work, so these areas were being opened up as because they were very rural. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on there, and a lot of these areas still had a lot of wildlife going on. So they were kind of being opened up for tourism, so that people could come and see how the other people lived.
Right.
So there was this resort being built, and my dad went to go and work to come and to put this resort together. So we were living up there, and that was a good experience. We had scorpions and snakes running everywhere. Woke up one morning, opened the curtain, and there was a rhinoceros taking a big steaming shite on our front lawn. It was a pretty good experience. But it was semi-dangerous at the same time because with the apartheid government moving out and all these new parties coming in, like the ANC, and which was Mandela's party, and the IFP and all these other guys, there was a lot of fighting between these parties, like violent sort of fighting, to see who would control different regions. So it was kind of dangerous to live in that area as well, because people were being murdered all the time. But yeah, the rest of my childhood was pretty stock standard. Went to school, went to high school, went to university, dropped out, and then my girlfriend at the time was moving over here to New Zealand, and we sort of split when she did, and then we sort of reconnected a few months later, and she said, "Hey, why don't you move over?" And I sold everything I had, my car, my stuff. It came to about 1,000 New Zealand dollars after everything, which is pretty much nothing. And I jumped on a plane with no visa or anything because the travel agent was like, "No, you don't need a visa to go to New Zealand." Got here, and the customs guys pulled me over, and they said, "You don't have a visa. How much money have you got?" And I was like, "I've got $1,000." And they're like, "That's not enough. How are you going to live with that much money?" It's like, we're really considering putting you on a plane, and sending you back home. So that was 36 hours I'd been awake because I can't sleep on a plane to save my life. And I'd flown from Johannesburg to Hong Kong. Had an 8 hour layover in Hong Kong, like at the height of the swine flu epidemic, no less, and then have flown to Auckland. And they were about to send me packing, so luckily I had my mom's phone number, and I was like, "Just call her, she'll explain everything, she'll tell you I'm here on holiday." And they did, and they said, "Okay, fine, but we're only giving you a 2-month visitor's visa, and then you need to get out of here."
Wow.
And I was like, "Yes, absolutely, Mr. Customs Man." And I got out of the airport, and the very next day I went to the Immigration New Zealand offices, and I was like, "I want to stay here." and that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Well, it was pretty hard actually trying to get to stay in New Zealand, but that's sort of the gist of the story.
Now so as far as differences in culture, were video games popular like in South Africa? Like, was it like in the way that you would think of the craze that happened here in America, that everybody had a Nintendo and everybody was like playing arcade games? Like, were they like that in South Africa?
We had arcades that you could go to, but I don't know. My experience of it is that it wasn't as popular for you, for sort of the home consoles and PCs and stuff, because getting stuff in South Africa is actually ridiculously expensive. The markup that they put on stuff there is huge. So buying something is so expensive.
Right.
So I don't, not a lot of people had consoles. Very few people, when the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 and all those came out, very few people that I knew had them. And if you had one, it was like, wow, sort of thing. You are godlike. And even if you did have one, buying a game, you like bought a game a year,
right?
if you were lucky. So I don't feel like So with the arcades, yeah, a lot of people played arcade stuff, and a lot of people playing Pac-Man and all this sort of games, or whatever. But I don't think a lot of people, especially when we were younger, were into sort of the home consoles and had that kind of experience. And then even when things like Steam came along, and you could buy a game on Steam and then download it, the internet fees in South Africa were stupid. Like they were ridiculous. I think even they still are. They are so expensive that you couldn't download games.
Right.
It just wasn't feasible.
So what region are the electronics for South Africa? Like how we have like power, like the electricity and such. Like certain electronics are rated for North America, and then they have things that are rated for like Japan, and then they have things that are rated for Europe. Like, where does South Africa fall in that?
I think I was fall under the European. I think that sort of like, because it's like, if you look at the map, it's like Europe and then Africa, and then I think that's all kind of falls under the same scheme, and then I think it all comes down to colonialism as well, because a lot of Africa was still governed by the colonials, like even though sorry, I'm trying to figure out where we are, even like 60, 70 years ago. So when all the kind of infrastructure put in, they were putting in their standards,
right?
So so I think every sort of region so I think all of Africa kind of fits under that European region. Plus, it's easy to trade with them as well. They're right up here, and we're sort of done here.
Right. Yeah, that was one of the, like, when you were saying that, it kind of hit me. I was like, I don't even know, because everybody kind of has their things are region specific across the world, and I was like, I don't even, like, I've never seen anything that says specifically for Africa. So I was like, I wonder where they fall. I guess that maybe there's only a few. Like, I don't know how varied that is across the globe. Like, because I know like the UK has some different power standards than Europe, and then I know Asia has different power standards, and America has different power standards. I was kind of curious when you said that. I was like, I don't even know what they use in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I've bounced. I'm not like a huge world traveler, but I've bounced around a few places, and everybody's got their own damn standards. I mean, even if I go from here to Australia, I need a power adapter just to be able to like charge my phone, because I've got different connections and everything. And it's like 3,000 kilometers away. So it's weird that if everybody could just standardize their shit and make my life easier, that'd be great.
And I'm pretty sure most of the other ones, like I know in the UK, I think theirs is much safer than America's.
Yes, yeah, you guys have a pretty bad one, from what I know.
Yeah,
ours are pretty good. I don't even know what ours look like. Ours are pretty good, but yeah, from what I understand, you guys like start fires really easily.
Yeah, it's and plus we hang everything on like wooden poles. It's like hanging across the sky. It's all ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah,
nothing is buried in the ground.
Yeah, you got gas coming straight into your house and stuff like that. I mean,
we're super smart about it.
Yeah,
I can't believe we've already got a battle. It's already 30 minutes.
Oh, battle time! Let's do this. I put down units because I need to win.
Hopefully, we have enough units.
I put down a fat boy.
We have 18 allies, 4 enemies. I think we got this. We did it. Ooh, look at that. I won gold. Steam job with monk scrolls. Look at that shit. Tywar with the top 1 kill, 2 assists. Show off.
Dude, it's because I'm a legend.
I got it. Oh, we got another chest. We're gonna get all the treasures. All right, let's get this set up here. I'm gonna drop. Oh, enemies will be revealed over time. I'm gonna drop down my rogue right here. Drop them in, baby. All right. Oh, Floki is an electrician. Floki has things about the things.
Ah, he knows the stuff about the things.
Previous page is sending me to Pinterest. Okay, it's fine. World power plugs. Why does Pinterest have images of it? Like, it's so weird. When I look up anything for images, it's always like, here's the thing on Pinterest. Why can't
I don't Pinterest because it can just piss off.
Yeah.
I hate Googling something. It's like, and all this crap for Pinterest comes up, and I'm like, I don't need to see some lonely mother's scrapbook ideas. It's just not something I need to look at.
Yeah, like, how is that going to help me?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Sorry, sweetheart, I wasn't talking to you.
No problem. Just let me know if you need anything.
It even has, like, a little slight accent.
Yeah, she's Australian. I don't know why she's listening to me now.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's not Cortana, it's Google. Hey, Google, tell me a joke.
This might make you laugh. What did one shark say to the other while eating a clownfish? This tastes funny.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Happy to help.
That accent is amazing. It's like,
Yeah, right?
it's like certain words, like shock was great, and then some of the other words were kind of like, it's like it learned it from, I don't know. It was just funny. I don't even know how to explain it.
Is
really
it?
Funny.
It's kind of like if the Google Assistant was trying to like force an Australian accent.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was like partially real and partially not. They're like, wait, we got an Australian to say certain words, but the other part, like, just fake it, like, just try.
Just put the American words in there. We'll be fine.
That's really cool.
Yeah. What do we? Oh yeah.
So the history and being in South Africa and all that, like, and one other thing, like, related to media, because I know, like, as an American, because we are very egocentric in America.
I know you guys are all about yourselves.
Yeah, we know nothing about anybody else because it's horrible. I know one of the things out of South Africa was District 9. Like, District 9 was kind of a very deep analogy about the apartheid.
Yeah, it was. So District 9 is one of the best movies I've actually seen. As a movie, as a piece of content, it's great. I can't watch it though.
Yeah.
Because listening to those accents makes me want to slice my wrists. And I'm sorry, but that South African accent, see, I have a very different kind of South African accent. That kind of South African accent drives me absolutely bonkers. Right. Like, I just can't handle it. And that's why I can't watch District 9.
Okay, yeah.
And you and I have conversations about the Antwoord.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
For Americans, that's the ant word.
Die Antwoord. Die Antwoord. Yeah, the Antwoord. So I can't stand them as well. They are low class South Africans, like, taken to the absolute next level. They're so just.
So are those like are they accurate or are they embellished?
No, they're pretty extreme. They are very extreme. But we do have our versions of like rednecks and hillbillies and sort of stuff. People who've done weird things with their cousins, or people who've missing a couple of teeth. Is it? Oh my god! Shh, don't you let him hear me talk.
About
now he only wants to know about the Zorbs. That's all.
That's all he cares
Slip
about.
only knows about the Zorbs.
All he knows about South Africa is zorbing, or New Zealand, and what is
No,
all,
no, New Zealand is no
it's
Zorbing.
all he knows
That's where
about is
Zorbing
zorbing.
comes from.
Boats and zorbing.
But yeah, I actually, it's just just aside, just a segue. I think Slip would actually love it here because there are more sailboats in New Zealand per capita, per person, than anywhere else in the world. So if you wanted to get a cheap boat, here's the place to do it. You should actually come here, Slip, buy a boat, and then sail it back.
Yeah, and take me with you. Dude, I'd go. Adventure capital of the world.
Exactly, that's all we do. That's why we're having such a bad time. Thanks to because we're one of like the few first world countries that that still relies so heavily on tourism.
Right.
And now that we're not letting anybody in,
Yeah.
we're having a bit of a tough time.
Did it get cleared up? I know, because I know early on, you guys wiped out the Rona.
Yes.
And then there was a bit of a resurge. Did that ever?
Yeah. So there was we completely got. The government just came in and said, "All right, all you fuckers stay at home."
Yeah.
And we did. It's a weird concept, but we actually listened to the professionals and we did it.
Right.
Right. So we stayed at home, we locked down, and we were in lockdown for 4 weeks. And we actually got rid of it, wiped it out completely. And the only cases that we had were people coming back from overseas, and they were staying in lockdown before they were being let back out. Mm. And then there was a weird thing that happened. We got a case of corona that popped up out of nowhere. So the guy who got it and his family hadn't had it previously. They didn't work in sort of a high risk sort of industry. He wasn't like at the border or anything like that. It came out of nowhere.
Right.
And the sort of the running theory at the moment is that it actually hitched a ride on some frozen food from the States because he was working in a refrigeration warehouse, and they think it actually came on. It got frozen on the food, came here. And then obviously as it thawed or whatever, he picked it up and it just got back out there.
That's weird.
So we sort of had a mini lockdown in Auckland for a bit. And it's starting to be lifted now. But that's kind of the weirdness that's happening with this stupid alien virus.
Yeah. They're they're weeding out the weak. And this is a joke, by the way, just in case anybody wants to take anything seriously. But yeah, that it's an alien virus. They're weeding out the weak, and then only the strong that are left are the ones that they want to take to be implanted with alien babies or to take to their planet and do weird experiments on. Like, that's why, people that are surviving, maybe we're not going to be lucky. Maybe we're the ones that are going to get probed.
Yeah, no, we're not the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Something weird is going to be inserted somewhere, and
yeah, I saw this on X-Files. It was in an X-Files episode, or I think it was in the movie. It was they give you a virus, and the people that died, they weren't worthy of being saved by the aliens to become part of their hybrid program. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Strong is going to be harvested. Oh, Floki has some South African words for you to explain, I guess, for
right.
So yeah.
Okay, so he can drop those in the chat, and I'll see if I can figure them out.
Yeah, let's do it, Floki.
Yeah.
We need to learn some slang.
Oh dear God.
Because I know I know the other one. We're talking about Diantvord.
Diantvord. You gotta. So it's Diantvord. So it's all throwbacks from Dutch, and so Afrikaans is a complete bastard of a language. It's Dutch, a little bit of German, a little bit of French, and a little bit of English, all just smashed into one.
Right.
And then they made this language out of it, and it's oh my god, it sounds like people just goggling rocks all the time.
So yeah, because I know they talk about being Zeph. What is Zeph?
Zeph.
Isn't that like is it Zeph or what are the in the songs like talk the dude Ninja talks something about having a Zeph boner or something. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I don't think that's a word that popped in because I see that.
Oh,
Chat.
it is. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a word that sort of popped in when I wasn't paying attention. All right, so okay, let me go through this. So robots are traffic lights. All right.
Robots are traffic lights. Okay.
You know, so those things that go red, orange, and green, we don't call those traffic lights or whatever. We call those robots. And a lot of this I had to kind of wean myself off. There's a couple of things that Floki hasn't put in there that we can also talk about as well. Ish, oh fucking, is more of an exclamation, right? It's kind of like saying like shit,
Yeah.
like as an exclamation. Biltong is kind of like jerky, so it's just dried meat.
Okay.
Futsek is a nice way of saying, well, semi-nice way of saying fuck off. Bucky, this is like a truck, like a like a Dodge Ram kind of truck.
Pickup
We call
truck?
it a Bucky. Yeah, a pickup truck, exactly.
Okay.
And Helena, I don't know how to explain this. Again, it's kind of like another sort of in a sort of a funny way. And burros is a sausage made of whatever the chewiest piece of the animal usually are. And that's what it feels like because it's like all the freaking grit.
Right.
That I don't know. It feels like that, right? It's not like a sausage where it's short, like easy to chew. Burros always tastes like it's very crunchy.
Is it like gristly, like fat?
Yeah, gristling. Yeah, I don't know if it's just the way they make it, but that's how it feels.
Interesting. That sounds horrible. Like that's the worst part. Like I hate gristle and fat, like in steak and stuff like that. I can't. It's a texture thing. Like there's just few things for me that it just doesn't work. Like it hits my palate and it's like. And
yeah, no, burros isn't my favorite thing in the world. I've almost died several times, like choking on it. And there's a couple of other things that we like to say, like now. So when a South African says to you now, that kind of means like soon. I'll do this. I'll do this now. I'll do this soon. But it's kind of between now and Armageddon. Kind of. Right. It's kind of between there, right? So especially when I got here and someone was like, "Hey, Tyron, can you go do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it now."
And they
were like, they kind of stood there waiting for me to do it, and I was like, "Oh no, I'll do it soon, not right now." Yeah, McLaughlin's got another word, braai. That's just barbecue. We call it a braai.
Barbecue, okay. Are there weird things? And I'm sorry, like I know this is like American, like tell me fascinating shit about your country. Like,
oh yeah, go for it.
What is like a staple meat? Like what's the like common meat dishes? Is it like cattle or is it something different?
Yeah, it's mainly cattle for cows or beef and chicken. Because
like McLaughlin eats kangaroos.
Yeah, I know he does. I mean, I've eaten weird stuff. Like I've eaten elephant. I've eaten crocodile. Obviously, there's all sort of kind of wild game that you can eat. There's all kind of deer and buck and all sorts of other things like that people hunt and then they cook that up. But yeah, we're kind of boring in our foods. There's a kind of food. I'm not answering that question.
Slip. You just missed that when we were talking about that. He was saying he can't stand the accents.
No. I love the movie. Movie's great. Accents are shite. I can't do it. We do have this really nice way of a poiki. So it's a big metal pot that you kind of put in there to make like a stew sort of soup kind of thing. and if it's done really well, it's actually really good. But I don't think at least I can't remember anything that's pretty much unique to South Africa.
Yeah, like
everybody's a ripoff of America these days, anyway.
Right. So you don't have any like weird animals that people eat, like kangaroos.
No, we have lots of those. I mean, you guys will have them in the States, obviously. So when the termites, so I'm just gonna ask. So when your termites are busy procreating, do you guys have this big sort of like the males and females sort of fly out and then they go and do their business?
For termites?
Yeah.
Termites are generally like, we don't really have like wild termite populations.
All right.
I don't think, because I think over there, isn't it like they have like the huge termite mounds and stuff? Is that?
Yeah, we do. So we have termites everywhere, which. Sorry, I'm trying to Google something so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. We have termites everywhere. That's why we don't make shit out of wood. Everything is brick. And I'm just trying to see if I can get some pictures here.
Yeah, they just live in houses over here. They don't.
Yeah.
Our termites have houses to live in and chew and destroy.
Yeah. If you Google South African flying ant for the images, you'll see what the male and female sort of termites actually look like. They're quite large and they have wings. So when they pop out, they take flight and then they'll go and shag somewhere else and start a new nest. So when these guys are doing their business, and it's usually in the rainstorm so that the ground's soft and they can dig, if you grab them, and you obviously want to take off their wings, you can eat them, and they've got a very sort of buttery kind of taste to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And people pretty much eat anything. In some areas, they'll eat anything that doesn't nail down. Where they'll. But yeah, so nothing. But again, nothing really weird. Oh, then there's what's that called? The Mapani worms. They're giant caterpillars like this, and people fry those up and eat those as well. So,
worms seem so like. Eating regular bugs seems sometimes okay because like some bugs seem squishier than others. Like some of them, you picture them having like goo inside them, like
yes.
But sometimes the smaller they are, the less gooey they would be, I guess.
And they're more the crunchy.
Yeah, and like a caterpillar just seems like a big fat, gooey, gross thing. Like biting.
Yeah.
It makes me want to gag thinking about biting into.
I'd imagine it would be like eating a mozzarella stick. But the mozzarella inside is like really, really runny.
Yeah. Because like I don't like runny eggs either. So like that's what it makes me think of as like, or like a pile of snot inside of a worm or something.
That's why I don't eat oysters and shit like that. Like somebody's like, "Oh, would you like to eat it?" Oh, if I wanted to eat this, I would pick my nose.
Right.
Fuck on that. At least I know where it came from. It doesn't.
Yeah. That's one of those. That's one of those texture things that I can't do.
I can't do it. Seafood on a whole is just it's not my deal. I don't really enjoy it.
Right.
I'm sorry, and I've said this so many times. My take on seafood is it tastes like the ocean, and if you know anything about the it's full of shit, piss, rubbish, and fish cum. And yeah, so you take away from that what you want.
Right. There was it's one of those jokes that it was a very unrelated part of the movie, but one of my favorite love stories is a movie called Closer that has Natalie Portman and Jude Law and the other rough and tumble guy that everybody loves, British actor. But there was a scene, they were at an aquarium and they were talking about eating fish, and she was like, I don't eat fish because fish, or I don't eat seafood because fish piss in the sea or something. And he was like, so do children. Like, I don't eat children either.
That's the wrong point of view to take it.
Mr. Bean, not Mr. Bean.
That must have been the rough and tumble guy.
Who's the oh my god, he was in Sin City. He's
that
smashing, handsome British actor.
Yes, he's got that really nice accent.
I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name. He sort of was popular for a while.
Yeah. Like he had his run. Like you see him every once in a while. Mr. Bean, not Mr. Bean, different guy. Very close. I like the second guess better than the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Almost.
Not Doctor Who. Who was that guy?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, no, you're bugging me. Oh, that's
Clive.
Clive Owen.
Yeah, Clive Owen.
That's it.
Even has a cool name.
Yeah.
Clive.
My name's Clive.
Maury Povich. Is Maury Povich British? I don't think. Povich isn't very much of a British name, I don't think.
No, it's like kind of like Polish or something, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say sounds with the itch. What the hell else? What does elephant taste like? You said you had elephant.
Pretty good actually. It's really good. So all we don't have wild roaming animals around anymore. Everybody's sort of corralled into game parks. So of course, an animal's a massive an animal. An elephant is a massive animal, right?
Yeah.
So there's only so many of them that these game parks can actually hold. So every once in a while, they have to go through and cull the population.
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Sad.
People pay money to go hunt them, Tywar, and that's wrong.
Oh no. So yes, people do pay money to go hunt them, but
because they gotta cull them because they're old and they can't take care of them, so they gotta sell them and let people hunt them. But that's wrong, right? Isn't that like? I mean,
yeah,
that's the point, right? Like
that's the point, right? But then they also don't get that if they just let the elephants shag and have their numbers grow, they'll completely like trample this tiny little section of paradise that's left for the animals, and then one will be, and then none of the animals will be able to eat, and the elephants will die anyway.
Right. It's one of like I don't really get too. I mean, I get it. Like people get upset about like lions and tigers and bears and shit getting killed, but it's like it's not like these people just randomly hopped on a plane and brought a gun with them and went out and shot a goddamn lion. Like,
no,
people get so, and I know this is probably a divisive fucking thing to say, but it's like those people pay millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever to go hunt them because those game parks need them to be hunted because that money and that food, I hit my other keyboard, the money and the food from that is going to benefit that country. Like, and they get a photo op and they maybe get a lion tooth or something, whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, no one, there was that, I don't know, there's all those stories like that. There's
like a dentist or something that shot some old lion.
That shot the lion, and there was some cheerleader who's big into hunting, and she went over to Africa and she shot something. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't agree with hunting. I'm not a hunter, and I don't.
Right.
I'm fine with the culling side of things. Like, I do understand we've fucked up the environment, and now there's only a certain amount of space that we've left for these animals to live, and so the culling kind of has to be done to maintain the ecosystem.
Right.
That I have no issue with, but I don't like hunting so much. Oh no, there's an update. I don't.
For the battle.
For the battle. I don't like hunting. Yeah, I don't like hunting so much. I don't see the point. If you need meat, go to the supermarket. Cindy down the road isn't going to be impressed that you're beating your chest and killing Bambi. So I don't get the point. But these industries do exist. So, that dentist that killed the lion and that cheerleader that, I don't know, did something, I don't know.
Right. Did something awful.
They didn't sneak a rifle onto a plane and travel to this country and sneakily go and run up and kill this animal. That industry existed, right?
Yeah.
They got permits. They were allowed to do this. And you can not agree with hunting, but they didn't do anything wrong, right?
Right.
So you kind of need to dry your eyes. You can't sit and bitch at these people. You need to, if you really want to do something, you need to make sure that the practice is stopped in that country.
Right.
But you can't be pissed off with these people for doing something that's legal.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like it's not necessarily that I believe it's right or wrong. It's simply they have the right to do it, and they have the means to do it, and the country benefits from it, and like that's like it's a thing.
Yeah,
it's not.
And it is, and you're right. The country, all that money again flows back into the country. Flows back into the economy. It helps pay people's wages. It's
like I guess, and I'm assuming feed villages probably or something.
Yeah. Well, you feed people, because there'll be people who work at these hunting parks who are, paid to maintain fences, maintain that, and look after the animals' welfare because kind of actually have to have animals. So there's all these people being employed and being paid by this industry. And you got to remember that a lot of these people don't have another choice.
Right.
So while yes, I don't agree with hunting. Also, you got to consider that some of these people just have no other option for income.
Right.
And this is all they have, and you can't poo-poo this because if you take this away from them, what happens to them? What happens to their families? What do they do?
Yeah. That's kind of like people say that a lot about movies and media entertainment, things like that. That it's like, if you go out and boycott a movie and get the movie shut down or whatever, like it doesn't get played, it doesn't make any money. It's like there are hundreds of people that worked on that movie just because you got bent out of shape about a dog looks whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Like some weird thing that people find about a movie and they're like, this is horrible. And it's like there are hundreds of people that are paid by that project, and just because you don't like an actor, or you don't like that an actor said a thing, or you don't like the way this character portrays a stereotype or something, it's like like I get it, like your feelings are hurt, but that's hundreds of people's jobs, and that's nothing to do with their decisions, and that's it's a very interesting point that you bring that up when you bring that up, that there are so many other people that are suffering from something like that, like getting rid of an industry like that. It's not just like some rich game park warden that makes all the money, that it's hundreds of people making $1 an hour or whatever, like tending fences and chasing out rabbits or something.
And like Cinder's actually said there, it goes towards preserving that and maintaining that area where these animals are actually protected. Because can you imagine if they weren't protected, that there's a reason that these game parks exist in the first place. It's because they were hunted to extinction pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah. Like the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah.
Which still
never
exists.
see a Tasmanian tiger anymore.
I think they exist. Do you have any feelings about that?
Wait, about the Tasmanian tiger?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They've had some
they
sightings.
Look pretty cool.
Like
have they?
Yeah, I've talked to McGlashan about that a bit. That there's
there's
even
some people that
sightings.
There's some people that think the moa still exists. So the moa, I think, is probably the largest flightless bird that's ever existed. It actually used to live in New Zealand.
Yeah, because they were 15 feet tall or something ridiculous.
Yeah, they're ridiculously tall, ridiculously big. So obviously there's people that now think that New Zealand's made up of 2 islands. So there's a North Island, pretty densely populated in comparison to the South Island, which is very sparsely populated except for a few towns and 1 or 2 cities. So there's a lot of area where it's very, there's not a lot of people. There's a lot of dense vegetation, and people think that these moa, these fucking enormous birds,
right?
If it took a dump on your car, it'll probably break it. They think that these things are roaming around down there somewhere, and we just on finding it. They're busy road runnering it around.
Yeah.
Just like being all sneaky and shit. But they think that these things exist. So
That's a little like, yes. I'm pretty open minded to about to a lot of these things because we can never be in every single place all the time. So I definitely agree that there are things that are well, I know that there are things that are out there that we don't know about. Things like that is sometimes a little questionable because New Zealand is a very finite area, and
Yes.
it's not a huge area. And I could, when we're talking about a moa, like if you guys aren't aware, if you look it up, a moa is easily twice the size of like an ostrich or an emu. Like I don't know relation or the relative size of them. Like I'm pretty sure they were like 12 to 15 feet tall and weighed like 800 pounds or something insane.
They were enormous.
Like
enormous
they were
animals.
big. But they were, I can't remember if they were quite dinosaur era or if they were a little more recent. Like,
Oh no, they were pretty recent. So when the came here, they were still here. I think they were, and then the Maori sort of hunted them out.
Yeah, so it was like within the last 1,000 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that's what I was gonna say, like I didn't think they were quite prehistoric. I was thinking they were.
You've muted yourself again. I just have to sit and look at your.
I didn't think they were quite prehistoric. That they were a little more recent. McGlashan's making fun of me because I said emu. Emu?
Emu.
Emu. Emo?
So it's just im.
Emu. Emu.
Emu. Okay.
All right, hold that thought. We're gonna do our battle, and we're gonna talk about the Tasmanian tiger. The Tasmanian tiger. Did I do it?
You nailed it, actually. Yeah.
Tasmanian tiger. I can't do it. You're welcome, McGlashan. Oh, I died right away. Oh my god, McGlashan's taking it to the limit. Nine kills. Jesus. I got immediately destroyed. Oh, I got flying rogue thing. McGlashan, more Berserker scrolls for you.
Oh, dude, I got 25 coins.
I need to work on here. Do we got a secret challenge level unknown ancient boss? This is a big one. I'm going to Goblin Tosser. You know what that means. I'm going to drop down my Templar. Ancient boss. Bring it on. We're back. And we're back. Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah.
Tasmanian tiger.
There you go, Tasmanian tiger.
Butchering that. Yeah, so it was like I think they died out in like the 1920s.
Yeah, no, there's still there's still a lot of good pictures of them. You see the hunters, like, or you can see pictures of them in cages and stuff.
And there was, I saw a story recently, in the last, like, few weeks, I think it is, that somebody found, they now have the most preserved fur from one, or hide, like a preserved hide from one, that somebody saw it, like, on Facebook or something, that there was, it was a picture of, like, a bar, and somebody had it hanging on a wall, and it was like somebody found it in a drawer, and like somebody bought it and like put it up in their bar or something, and then like an anthropologist or whatnot saw it and was like, "That's a fucking Tasmanian tiger hide," and they like went and bought it. And but they apparently like did a lot of like microscopic study of it or whatnot. And I kind of glanced through the article, but it was like they have like 4 types of hair density. Like they had their hair was had a lot of variation. Some of it was hollow, I guess, which it can absorb like moisture and such and help keep them like regulate temperatures and things. And I guess they found out a lot about it apparently from just the fur, that it was very well well kept. But Tasmanian tiger, for those of you that are unawares, it was called a Tasmanian tiger. It's a marsupial that lived that was killed out in the 30s, right? 1933 was the last live capture. That it lived. It lived over in. Is it? I think some of them were in mainland Australia as well, right? They were in Tasmania and some of the mainland. But it was a marsupial that it carried its young in a pouch, like a kangaroo or like a possum, and it had like a very large, like extendable jaw thing. It was real weird, but it's like a little striped dog looking thing. They called it a tiger. It wasn't really a tiger because it's a marsupial. But
well, I mean, there's a Tasmanian devil, and he's not a devil. He's just an asshole.
Right? Yeah, it's just an extreme dick. The Tasmanian devils are awful. The thylacine. But there's a lot of rumor and even some sightings. People have taken some pictures and gotten some video, and they think that there's still a pocket of them that are living out in the wild. Which, again, I mean, Australia. That's one of those things. Like, yeah, like I don't, and I've heard that they even say that they do this on maps, that they make certain countries, like the perspective of the size of them, they make it look different. And when because it was like one of those things, again, Americentric, there's a word for that I always pictured a lot of Europe as being much bigger than it really is. And like whenever I was going to the UK, and I got to looking, and I'm like, holy shit, England is smaller than my state. Like Oklahoma is roughly 1,000 square miles bigger than the entire country of England. And I just picture it as being like in America, because and also I think sometimes people don't probably realize how big America is, that it's ridiculous. Like we see it as like, oh, this is our country and this is the size of it or whatever. But relatively speaking, it's massive and stupid. And, but like Australia, I don't truly have a size reference in my brain. Like I don't comprehend how big Australia is, but I'm pretty sure it's insanely large, and it's very.
You can lay Australia over the entire United States and still have some room to spare.
Yeah.
The thing with Australia is that very little of it is actually habitable.
Right.
So you pretty much, most of the population lives around the coasts, and then the inland is just desert. It's and so there's towns scattered around the interior, mainly mining towns and shit like that. So there's still huge tracts of it that people just don't go to.
Yeah,
because it's ass. But it's an enormous place. I mean, like, because you got to think about it. It's like he has a country that's as big as America, but has, oh god, what is it, like 30 million people living there?
Yeah. We could check. Let's do our fact.
I mean, what do you guys got? You got like 300 million people living in the States right now?
I don't know about living.
Well, what do you think?
It's a very subjective word. United States population. 328.2 million people. 24.99 million people in Australia.
Yeah. So I mean that's crazy. I mean it has this. I mean even in the States, like, even in the States, there's still huge areas that like people don't know what's going on. That's where you guys have like wrong turn and all sorts of shit that goes on down
there. United States. Oh, okay. So I guess maybe we are bigger. It says United States is 1.3 times bigger than Australia. It's not a whole lot. 27%.
Not a huge amount.
Yeah. Australia is 7.7 million square kilometers, and America is 9.8 million square kilometers.
It's still pretty big, though.
But still, like comparatively speaking, 300 million more people living in the United States.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, all kinds of like insane people. Yeah, McLaughlin was talking about the dingo population. The dingo fence is 5. How many numbers is that? 5,531 kilometers long.
Yeah.
Trapping. Oh, dingo wild dog hunters. They make $500 to $600 a day trapping them, but they say they've never seen one walking around, so they're very sneaky. Oh, like wild dingoes and wild dogs. They never see them walking around. They just catch them in the traps. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm on board with believing that thylacines are still alive. Same thing with the yowie. I don't know. Does New Zealand have a Bigfoot? Is there a...
No, I don't think we do. No, we've got our emu. I don't think we have a Bigfoot.
Because I know Australia has the yowie, which is supposed to be pot-bellied.
Yeah.
Some people don't know this about the yowie, but the yowie is apparently pot-bellied because it's a vegetarian. So
Dude,
all the plant...
Does Australia actually have any native primates at all? I don't think they do.
Or like large...
Well, any kind of primate, like monkeys. Because it'd be weird if they had like a Bigfoot. Because I mean,
there are no monkeys in Australia.
Yeah.
Why are there no monkeys in Australia?
Because they realized early on it was shite.
What primates live in Australia? Humans are the primates that live in Australia. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like in America we have the possum, the opossum. That's the only marsupial we have in America.
Yeah.
And yet Australia and does New Zealand have a ton of marsupials?
No, not naturally. I think your opossum is like the only marsupial outside of Australia.
It very well could be.
We have possums here that were brought over by the colonials. We have, God damn it, what's that thing's name? It's not a kangaroo. It's smaller.
Wombat, wallaby.
Wallaby, that's it. So we had some pompous British governor who was in Australia, and then he had to come to New Zealand for one of the areas here, and he got so homesick for Australia, he brought some wallabies over, and they've been breeding like fucking rabbits ever since.
Isn't there, like, speaking of breeding like rabbits, am I imagining this? Isn't there a rabbit problem somewhere? Is that in Australia? I think I was talking about.
I think it's Australia's got a big rabbit. I think we've got some rabbits, but I don't think there wouldn't be a pest.
Diprotodon? What is a diprotodon?
Are you just pulling shit out of Ark? I feel like that's what you're doing.
Yeah, is McLaughlin
You're pulling names out of Ark.
They do have they have a rabbit problem. I was thinking that there's a rabbit problem. Oh, 2 forward teeth. Oh, the giant marsupial. Okay. Dude, I bet those still exist.
They probably do. They all live in the ground now.
Yeah, everything lives underground and they live in the desert.
Yeah. I mean, they still haven't found the guy that did the whole Wolf Creek murders, so...
Have they not? Like, I know that's based on a real story, and you could
be
totally
based on a real story. Like, you obviously... Have you seen the
I saw
movie?
part 2, I think.
Yes.
I saw the sequel. I don't know that I saw the first one. But he was some psycho.
Yeah. The first one that was based on real events. These 2 girls and this guy went out into the middle of nowhere, and according to the guy who was the only survivor, their car broke down. Some guy came and picked them up and said, "Look, just come and stay at my place. We'll sort you out, and then you guys can get going the next day." So, which according to the guy, they took him up on his offer. And then from his story, this guy that picked them up now started torturing them and then tortured him, and like he got put somewhere else away from the girl, so he never knew what happened to the woman. The story sort of dramatizes what these girls went through, although no one knows.
Right.
And then he actually escapes, and somebody finds him. That's the story. So he was actually tried for their murder because people didn't believe him. They're like, they could never find this guy. They could never find this place where he was kept. He couldn't take them back there. There was no traces of another vehicle. There was nothing. Then no trace of these two women were ever found. So they were like, well, this is a pretty convenient story.
Yeah.
But of course, then there wasn't enough evidence to convict him to prove that he was actually wrong. So that's kind of how the Wolf Creek legends kind of come about.
Huh. That's interesting. So it
Yeah.
potentially could have been the guy, but based on his story, it
He's
was.
the only one that actually knows, and this is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Pretty much all we have to go on right now.
Huh. Yeah, see, it's one of those things, like, you never quite know how far the truth goes when you see, based on real events. Like,
Yeah.
I still have people tell me Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a true story. And I'm like,
No, it wasn't.
It
No, it wasn't.
absolutely
Even the
wasn't.
guy that made it was like, no, it's actually it was based on this other guy, this other serial killer in the States who was like killing people and then using their skin to make weird stuff.
Ed Gein.
And like it's loosely based on that.
Yeah, Ed Gein. So, no. I'm
that's
sorry. I think it was. Am I imagining this? I think there was another guy that this said. Somebody. I think this came up in a trivia conversation.
It was somebody. I know there was some serial killer and he like loose on what happened.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. It's based on Ed Gein. There is one. I forgot who it is. There was some horror character that I always thought it was based on somebody, and then they're like, oh, it's based on this other person that I'd never heard of. But yeah, Ed Gein, which is weird because Ed Gein was one of those, as far as like serial killer trivia, like he wasn't particularly rambunctious.
No, he
some of them.
didn't kill a lot of people. He was just kind of weird with.
Yeah, he was like a closet serial killer. Like he only got caught. Like he got, I think, because there's a few movies about him, like biodocs or whatever, biopics. But I think he ended up shooting somebody. Like somebody found some of his stuff or something, and like it was like a police shootout or something, and he got killed. But
Yeah.
a lot of it, like they don't really know where he got it. Like they don't necessarily know that he murdered dozens of people to make lampshades out of them, but he had
Exactly.
multiple things made out of human flesh in his house. And he lived in like
It's like, where'd you
Wisconsin.
get this from? I was like, all right.
It's like I found it.
That's I got into serial killers not long ago. I found this podcast on Spotify just called Serial Killers, and they sort of like they do these weekly episodes. So one episode will be about the serial killer's early life, and then will be about sort of like when they started their spree and how they got captured or whatever.
Right.
And there's some really like weird stories. Like there's a guy who's actually he was just in the news recently that that sheriff or that policeman who was like kidnapping women and raping them and occasionally killing them and stuff. And he's like quite old, but he's just had all these victim impact statements and sort of things like that. And he was in the news recently, but he was really prolific for like 40 years. He was just he would like kidnap women and like drug them up and rape them, and like they were so like messed up to the point that they didn't even, when he would then go and take them back home,
Yeah.
and drop them off, being like, I'm a policeman and I'm just dropping this chick off because she's wasted, and people would be like, thank you, officer, and she wouldn't actually even have known what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, there's some horrific stories. There's this guy. There was I think it was in Colombia. I can't remember what his name was, but he
Was
like
it Hitler?
no, no, just for guy in Colombia.
I think that was Venezuela.
Yeah, No, so it's this guy in Colombia who would just like walk around from town to town, raping and murdering boys, and they think he like killed like 300, raped and killed like
Jesus.
300 boys.
Like that's a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah,
considering one person. I mean, with the exception of like Pol Pot, because like Pol Pot, I think is like the most prolific mass murderer in history, I guess.
yeah,
Because he killed like a million or whatever millions of people. Like I forget how many. Like he decimated his entire country or whatever it was. But like
yeah.
for one individual, and he didn't necessarily do it by hand, but like one person by hand killing 300 people, like that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. It's like it's to what you can't really even understand it. Like as a normal human, well, as
Right.
a functioning human being.
Yeah, as a functional, rational human being, like one
You
person would
can't,
be bad
like,
enough, I would think.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I think I could do that again, and then
What,
like
I mean, what
300
makes you
more
walk around
times.
and be like, I'm going to rape and murder that kid? Um, it's like, how does that just, how do you wake up doing that?
Right. Part of it is like, how do you find the time to go through? Like, what do you do during the rest of the day that you?
Yeah. Oh, he was doing it like sometimes several times a day. Like he would wake up and wandering psychopath. He'd just like wander into this town and find a boy and do his thing. Because obviously, being like it's, I think it's some Central American country. I think it was Colombia. Obviously, these countries are pretty fucked up. So
Yeah.
he was just wandering around, and no one knew who he was, and all these kids were around doing things, collecting water. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. And he would see one and grab that kid, and then he'd finish up, and then he'd be doing something else, and he'd see another kid, and he's just like his fucking libido just wasn't dead, so he'd go and he'd take that kid as well, and so he was doing it like several times a day, and he didn't do it for very long. He was only doing it for, but he managed to cram in a lot in that time.
Yeah. We have a lot of insane people that have been in the world,
Yeah.
for sure. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I have that effect on people.
No, I had this question. I was like, that would be a good question. Then I totally forgot speaking of interesting hobbies, like what is one of your obscure hobbies or interests that people don't often hear about?
Obscure hobbies or interests. I actually, you know what? I don't actually have any. I play games.
Researching serial killers.
Well, I mean, because I got bored of listening to like a Spotify playlist, and I was like, let's listen to something interesting, and then I found this podcast, and I was like, wow, okay, cool. So every time I was driving in back and forth to work, I was listening to this stuff. So that's kind of how I crammed that all in. Yeah. CK says I've got my lava lamp.
The lava lamp. Can you get a blue one? I'm not going to diminish the meaning of the red one. Get a blue one. People seem to be into this blue and red thing lately. Like they'd get a blue light and a red light, and they put them like in each side of the screen, and then you have like this awesome like blur of purple down the middle. That seems to be a thing a lot of these famous YouTubers are doing.
No, I've got these other lights. Be like, I don't need to get two lights to do it. I can just get this one. Look at my phone here. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but
a black light with fluorescent goo, maggot spawn. That would be amazing.
black light, fluorescent goo. There's a joke in there.
There's definitely a joke in there. So no
I don't know.
weird things.
I'm pretty vanilla, right? I mean, obviously, I enjoy watching a TV show. I play my games. I am, when I also play when I'm not streaming because I like playing games. They're really enjoyable. So I play a lot of games when I'm not streaming. I enjoy cars. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a big motorhead, but I enjoy. I appreciate a good car. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. Do you have a particular car that you've always lusted after?
Oh, that's a hard question. I know everybody's going to be like, I want a Ferrari, and I'm like, I appreciate those cars from a mechanical standpoint. Like you can look at them and be like, a lot of time went into creating this car, and I'm sure if I put my foot down, I'd absolutely crash from the first corner because it's just gonna melt my face or whatever.
Right.
But I would never want a car like that because, dude, I'm a human being with like a family. Where am I gonna?
Right.
So I don't know. When it comes to cars, I need to
Well, like you think about that, like,
don't
and
know.
I don't want to speak for him, but like I
think
know,
of something something that I would really kill for. I don't know. Probably like a good Rolls Royce or a Bentley or something like that.
yeah, like I know, and like I said, I don't want to speak for him, but I know Slip had a sports car for a while, like an
He's
AMC.
muted himself
I
again.
think.
He doesn't know.
Sorry, I said sorry. I said I don't want to speak for him, but I know Slip had a sports car for a while, and that he ended up getting rid of because it was like. He was, if I remember right, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like it was nerve-wracking to drive it because it's so fast. Like it was so much car. It was like, what's the point? Like you can't really drive it like as a normal person.
Oh, I mean, I know that. But I used to work with a guy that it wasn't that long ago, so it's quite a new model. Like, and that's like a 5-liter. He had it modified, so it's like twin turbo 5-liter Mustang, and he sold it in 6 months because he's like, dude, I can't do anything with this car. He's like, if I stop at traffic lights, and I just want to go, if I put my foot down on the accelerator just even a little bit, this fucking monster of a car it just does whatever he wants. You see, he lost control of it so many times because it just puts all this power down on the road.
Yeah.
On this tiny little piece of tarmac, and it just buggers off. So I couldn't. I mean, I've got a Subaru, Subaru,
as Americans.
Subaru, there you go. Subaru. I got a Subaru WRX, and that's probably about as powerful as I'm ever going to go. I mean, that thing's got like 300 horses, and it does me well.
And those are all-wheel drive, I think, right? Subaru.
Yeah, they are.
I looked at whenever I was getting a car. It's one of those like because all of their cars are all-wheel drive. So I've looked at I looked into those. Oh shit, Mazion rating.
Oh my god, I didn't even know Mazion was streaming.
It's an early.
He's
early
been on
rate.
holiday for the whole week.
I was wondering. I was like, I haven't seen Mazion. Welcome, Raiders. Maz, what's up, dude? Apparently you're on vacation. Hopefully you had a good time. Welcome, everybody. I'm Flitzanu, and that's Tywar over there. And we're having a chit-chat tonight. We're learning all about Tywar and all about South Africa and New Zealand.
And New Zealand, and emus, and
emus.
Tasmanian tigers,
and Subarus.
Subarus, yeah.
Is that and Dr. Saps, Killer Ginger, Throttle Vamp, what's going on? Evil Zach.
Yes, there we go. Zach's got it.
Subaru. How did what is your pronunciation again?
Subaru. But apparently I say it incorrectly even. Subaru.
I don't know because like
go and look at how it's spelled.
It is. I think it's one of those like we probably say it incredibly wrong anyway. Like I'm sure we say Toyota wrong. Like I guess like in the and maybe you guys as well. Like
I know one that you say wrong. You go
Nissan.
It's a Nissan
because it's
Nissan.
Nissan. Yeah, I was gonna say like because one of my Cockney friend he says because we say Adidas and he says Adidas, the tennis shoes.
I go Adidas.
Adidas. Yeah, I think that's pretty close.
Adidas.
Like because we're like
Adidas.
Close, but yeah, his is more like Adidas. Yeah, it when you hear certain words, you're like, wait, what? Is that how you say it? You're like, who's wrong? Are we wrong? Are they wrong? But I feel like a lot of the import cars, I'm sure we, as standard white people, probably say them way wrong.
Yeah, you do them incorrectly, but that's fine. Like everybody's just learned to understand what you guys say. We're kind of forced into a situation where we kind of just have to guess what Americans are saying because Well, that's just the way it is, right?
Speaking
We don't have
of
a choice. It's like it's our way, or just fuck you.
one of the funniest things, I was visiting my parents the other day, and my father is he's into small game hunting. Like, he was never really into like big game like deer and stuff like that, but he's more into like pheasant and quail and like smaller birds and stuff. And he has been watching this. Apparently, the guy is British, because he was asking me. He's like, I don't really know where he's from. He's from Europe over there, and he's like, I can't understand what the guy's saying. But like, watching the way that they shoot over there, like they're I forget what they're hunting. Like, there's some small bird that they hunt over there. But he was telling me, he's like, I watch this guy, I'm like, I can't understand half of what he says at all. Like, he's like, I pick up 12 gauge, or like I hear certain things and I'm like, let me turn on the subtitles for you, Dad. And because it's one of those, it's really funny because it's very I don't really know what the proper word. It's like it's kind of disarming, because you're like, I know these are English words, like I know they're speaking English, but I can't, it. And I think it's one of those, like, it took a lot of time, like, especially being on the internet, like communicating like with you and communicating with friends in the UK, and and playing video games online and stuff, like being in voice chat, like, and watching like BBC, like you start picking up on it. But it is very like, because I felt bad like when I went to the UK, because there are certain places I would go and I'm like, fuck, I can't understand what this guy's saying. And I can't be like, I can't understand your accent, because like I'm the one with the accent, not them. And so I can't be like, can you say that slower and pretend that I'm stupid?
Can you speak American? You needed some.
Yeah, speak American. Speak American.
Yeah, well, I had to do South African myself pretty quickly, because there's things that we say, and that we, well, like the now things. I had to do that because
right.
This kid talking about, so yeah, I had to do South Africa, and then I had a job. So, like, I had a job where I was selling this product into the States, a software product. So I was calling up, like, I was in the office early in the morning, and I was calling people up, talking to a lot of Americans, and I had to sort of adapt my style of talking, and even my accent to some extent, to so that they could understand me, because when I first started talking to them, they'd be like, "What? Huh? Sorry."
Do what? What did you say?
Fucking immigrant. They're saying all this. They didn't know what I was talking about. So I had to sort of adapt how I was talking to them, and that's sort of why I think I can talk to like you guys and have conversations with you, and sort of understand the kind of things that you say, and also say things in a manner that you understand what I'm trying to get across, right?
Right. And it's one of the, like, I don't really think about that. Does it become difficult to, like, if you walked into a room of Americans, would it be difficult for you to understand everything? Like, I know, like, we're all speaking the same language for people that are thinking like it's all English, but like the way your ears are trained to listen to people of, like, where you live, like geographically and whatnot, like you're surrounded by people that are speaking generally the same as you. So like if I go to New York, it's more difficult for me to understand people just because they have a New York accent. Is it that way? Like, if you are in a room of Americans, like, does it seem complicated at times to be like, what the fuck did they say?
No, not at all. I mean,
or are we?
I don't actually find it I don't find it that difficult. I've grown TV my entire life, like watching shows, and these shows are based in different regions, and I've sort of got to a point where I can understand what all of you guys are saying, and I don't struggle at all with it.
I always wonder that. Like, I wonder if because we're egocentric, like it makes me wonder as Americans if we sound more basic. Like if we sound plain, like how we picture an accent, like somebody speaking with an accent sounds intriguing and exotic, that I always picture Americans as sounding very plain. Like we sound like a dumbed down version of English.
I wouldn't call the American accent exotic because it's so prevalent.
Right.
With everything. It's everywhere. It's it's on the radio, it's on TV. There's Americans that live that I've dated an American girl for sakes. So it's everywhere. Whereas I'm assuming that my accent to a lot of people listening would sound very exotic.
Right.
I've had people say that it's like, oh, I love your accent.
Yeah, the women walk in and they're like, oh, Tywar.
Yeah, I'm like, hello, and
and they just melt.
And they just melt, they collapse, and I'm like, God damn it, not again. No, but when this company and then the receptionist picked up, she had a very southern accent, and she was she was one of those people that kind of calls you sweetheart and darling right away, which is kind of like, I haven't had sex with you yet. let's tone it down a bit. But yeah, she was like, you have such a beautiful accent. Sorry, I'm not going to try and.
I was going to say, we're going to make you do that eventually. I was going to.
It's like, I'm going to try and think of it like. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. Think about your best American accent. Yeah.
Yeah, best American. It's like, howdy, y'all. No, no.
I feel like American accents are generally easier to fake than like me trying to fake non-American accents. Especially like British actors, like they're notorious. The people like watching The Walking Dead, that for the most part I had no idea that anyone was not from the Deep South. And like the first time you hear what's his face, I'm like, holy shit. Or like Dr. House, like watching House MD, that people, you would see Hugh Laurie on a talk show, and like, is he faking that accent? Like, no, he's like very posh British.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, they fake an American accent very, very well. Yeah, or Morgan. Yeah. It was funny because Morgan, he was in Snatch, I think. The movie Snatch? Did you see the movie Snatch?
I did, but that was because Snatch came out right after
after Lock, Stock. Yeah, it came out after Fight Club, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. I think that was a Guy Ritchie movie. I think.
Yeah, it was one of those period of movies with
some of them kind of run together.
There was a lot of movies that sort of came out very close together, which kind of like gritty and very very real. It was like Lock, Stock, and there's Fight Club, and then Snatch was one of them as well.
Yeah, that one. Where they had a subtitle Brad Pitt. Yeah,
subtitle. Yeah, because he kind of doesn't. But I know in Shadow is like, do I find American accents annoying? It's like, no, I don't. Not really.
Yeah.
I just listen to it. I find South African accents annoying. Literally the only accent I find annoying.
All right, hold that thought. We have a battle. Everybody that came over, by the way, for the raid, we're doing some Stream Raiders stuff. So if you guys want to jump in, we're going to start our battle here. And then you can get into the next go-round. We have 31 allies, Ancient Boss. Can we do it? 17 enemies. Holy shit. Do we have a lot of archers? Ooh, that guy's got a heat-seeking trebuchet. Oh god, we're getting annihilated. Oh my god, there's a lot of archers over there too. Take him out! Oh my god, we killed the big guy. I think we should be good. Look how many archers we have. That's beautiful. Also, I'm still alive. Holy crap. I'm going to survive the battle. Look at this slow hag over there. Whoa! Dude, I'm still going strong. I'm going to go murder this guy all on my own. I got it. I got him. I got 3 kills. I win flying rogue scrolls. Xenomorph Queen Monk Scrolls. Dude, that was amazing. We defeated a boss. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. I got a Badlands Archer skin.
Dude, I've got so many scrolls. I can upgrade my paladin.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can upgrade my archer. And I want to use... Where's my archer? Yeah.
Badlands Archer.
Yeah, the Badlands Archer. I remember I remember hearing that. Yeah, on Evil Zach's stream. All right, so let's see. Did we finish? Oh, we finished the thing. Should we go for the unknown? Let's do it. Let's just go for the unknown deal. Orc encampment. I'm gonna go.
All right, do it.
I'm gonna go with the archer. I want to drop down the archer right there.
The Badlands Archer.
Bad lad archer. Get your battle people in. Get your battle boys in and ready to go. All right. Dude, we won. We won. We kicked ass.
I know. What would you have done without me? Jesus Christ.
I know. I would have lost the battle, probably. That's what I would have done.
But not the war.
Not the war, just the battle. Just the battle. Single battle. Have you... Evil Zach is checking out early. Boys soccer game in the AM. Evil Zach, thanks for coming out, man. Good luck with the soccer game. The ball foot game.
The football.
Good luck with the footballs. Also, anybody have any questions? Anybody have any culture questions? We're going to exploit Tywar's knowledge of not being American.
I'm going to use my buddy.
If you have any, if you have any pressing questions. We've already talked about how District 9 is a perfect reenactment of life in South Africa for the aliens.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened during.
Like, it was based on a true story. I don't know.
Literally.
It's literally happened. You just don't hear about it on the news because the government controls the news.
KG's got a good question.
Boobies or ass? That is a good question.
Boobies or ass? I don't. I actually, if I were pushed, I'd choose boobies.
Right.
But I would say that I'm fond of both. And in fact,
what do you gravitate
more than
toward?
Anything,
like visually, if you see it, like that's what I think of.
If I see a woman,
after the face, after you see the face, then the next
face,
thing.
and I'm like, it's like, yes, I can look at you tomorrow. After I see a woman, I have a thing for thighs.
Right.
I have a thing for thighs, and I suppose I look at ass and boobs as a bonus.
So more thighs than ass and boobs.
Yeah, who am I to be picky? You know, if a lovely woman like was happy enough to get weird with, was happy enough to get weird with me, I'm not going to be like, nah, your boobs aren't all right, and you're like, your ass is too small. I'm just going to be like, thank God, this is great.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, from Ashley. Thigh gap or big juicy thighs?
Big juicy thighs.
Big juicy thighs.
I don't think I've actually ever been with a girl who has a thigh gap. Maybe one.
You ever created a thigh gap?
I've widened some thighs.
Bada bing. I think I tend to, between the two, I think I tend to look at ass more than I do boobs.
Yeah.
Like thinking, like when I picture being in a situation, visually looking at and objectifying a woman, that look up and then down and then back up. So I think that's usually where my eye range goes.
I don't know. So there's 2 points I have. So one is, a a butt's a butt. So when I
Right.
say that is, there's nothing somebody can besides like a jeans or whatever to
Right.
push up the butt, prod up the butt a little bit. A butt will always look as it is. Where boobs can be deceiving. See, you
Right.
can either have push-up bra, which makes more boobage than there is.
Right.
And I've actually been with girls who I've been like, oh well, they've got very small boobs. So,
Right.
and then like you take the shirt off, and you're like, wow, where were you hiding those?
Yeah, there's definitely an area. Yeah, like it's one of those. And again, sorry, women. Like it's not intentionally deceptive. It's just visually we don't think that far ahead. That we see something, we're like, oh, and then you're like, where did it go? Like where is all of this that looked like it was there? Or you're like, holy
Yeah.
shit, how did you hide that? Because
Yeah, I've there's been some nasty tricks, but I don't okay. I say that in I mean, don't take that the wrong way. It is meant to be a joke, but there's been a couple of occasions where I've taken a girl home and I've been like, this all looks real good, and then the next day the tighten you up and keep you together come off.
yeah,
And it's kind of like, well, that wasn't
right.
that wasn't what I ordered.
Right. Yeah. You're like that's it's like buyer beware.
Yeah.
Objects may appear, whatever. Something
Washer when undressed.
yeah.
And again, I'm not perfect, so let's just like I can do this with my boobs. And I've got a bit of a pouch, and I'm not perfect, but I am here, right? You can see I don't hide. I can't hide any of this. This is all here for you to see, so you know exactly what you're getting into.
Well,
before
Ashley
we do it.
says women get no clue to size. I mean, unless a guy's wearing like spandex pants, or unless you're John Hamm or something.
Oh, well,
then
I mean,
generally-
yeah, I suppose that's a different kind of conversation. Everyone's like, that doesn't matter.
right? Yeah. Like, what happened to that? I thought it doesn't matter.
It's like,
Oh, now suddenly you want huge, massive
yeah,
brains.
yeah, that's exactly it. Brains. I don't know. I mean, it's not about the size; it's about how you use it.
Yeah. I scones walk around the length of radiator hose in my pants. I made a fake ding dong once. Speaking of, for a Halloween costume, I went as a porn star, and I was wearing something very similar to this outfit, and I made it was like the gel wrist guards that you put like in front of your keyboard. Like we took one and like rolled it, like folded it like a sandwich, and like taped it up, like made it round and everything, and like put it like made a belt loop out of duct tape, and like I belted it to the inside of my waist underneath my pants. And so I mean, and it like literally is like as big as my arm. So I had like this arm appendage, like I was wearing really tight pants, and so it's like obvious that but it was obvious but subtle enough that you wouldn't really like see until you stopped and like looked, and they're like, Jesus, what is I need to find a picture, actually, now that I say that. It was a pretty good costume.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for this.
I mean, I get Miss Ashley's point.
It's I mean, it is true.
Girls don't know what they're getting into. I mean, unless a guy is absolutely packing a monster sausage. You're never and he's got a giant bulge. You never go. I can't speak for that because I don't know what ladies' preferences are when it comes to size and girth and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a white guy.
It's exactly right.
About it.
Scones.
Looking for a nice pair of perfect.
You're muted again.
Oh, sorry. I can't remember. Like, my joke is lost now. I just said
Everybody else heard it.
I just said obviously we're not going to know anything about it. Like, I don't. I don't know how any of that feels.
Yeah.
Halloween. It's my 80s prom costume. This is not it.
So some girls don't like a big one, and thank God for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, thankfully, there are women that love a a small, like, unendowed man. Otherwise,
A respectful amount.
otherwise we'd be single forever. Is this the picture?
Here we go. Syndra's educating us.
I think I found a picture.
Of your massive
Yeah.
your massive unit.
Let's see. Whoops. Here? Yeah, there you go. It's somebody else's hand.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like, it's subtle, but it not subtle. It was a fun costume. Those are my banana pants, by the way.
Sexy pants.
Those are the best pants.
How did you walk?
Very carefully. No, it was like it was made out of duct tape. So like we made a belt loop out of duct tape, so I put a belt in the thing and like I belted it on. Like I belted it around my waist and then put my pants on over it. So it was basically it was strapped on, you might say. How many times did I get groped that night? Many times by, as you can see, that's one of my male friends' hands that was on it. So it was anything goes that night. Everybody just wanted a piece. Just wanted a little.
They only wanted you for your giant man meat.
Yeah, they just. I mean, who could blame you? You see that, and like, you can't really. It's hard to walk away from.
Exactly.
Very, very subtle. Yeah, xenomorph is very subtle. Like, there are so many people like I would be talking to, and like they would finally like casually glance at it, like, "What is that?" Like,
did you walk around like rubbing it against people's legs?
yeah, because like I didn't walk around like pointing it out or anything, like, because I had like an afro wig on, and so I looked like, 70s disco guy, because I was basically dressed normally. Like, I was wearing exactly what I would normally wear, except I had a wig, and then I put that on. Like, it was a very easy costume. And so that, and like I don't know that I'm quite ready to show. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I've got, because I went as Axl Rose, and I was wearing tiny white shorts, but I was wearing a cup, like an athletic cup, so it covered. There was no, that, because otherwise it leaves nothing to the imagination if you're wearing tight, tiny spandex shorts, and so I wore a cup, so that way there was no questioning anything. But Xenomorph. Oh, Scones managed to get married, so there's hope. There's hope. Oh, Xenomorph with the slam. Oh, snap. What else did I miss? Thankful their men just know what to do, and no, it's not always about the D. Not always about the D. Depends on the woman in question. Some like big, some can't deal with big. Safety first, yeah. Halloween. Yeah, do you celebrate? I mean, is Halloween a big thing?
Yeah, we have Halloween here, but again, this is American imports. So we do celebrate Halloween, but it's pretty much because we're all Americanized.
Were there? Do you have a favorite costume from when you were a child?
No. So in South Africa, mainly because it wasn't really safe to go walking around at night. So, and then sort of here, I don't really dress up. I enjoy like the fun that the kids have with it. So the kids obviously go around house to house knocking and getting candy and stuff, and I enjoy that because they're so happy. Right. So I'll get a bunch of candy and chocolate and shit and put that out for them. But I don't really dress up. I hate dressing up. I hate costume parties. I'm so lazy.
You like seeing all the moms dressed up?
Oh, the moms don't fucking dress up, but they are happy to see me when I open the.
Like when the kids get Reese's peanut butter cups. Hell yeah, Dr. Seps. The dad tax.
Oh yeah, dad tax is the best. It's like one for you, and I'll just take the rest.
It's like I need to test this. Because in America, they put razor blades and LSD and drugs in all the candy. So I need to try it all to make sure that you don't get anything.
Yeah, because I need to try it to find all the ones with the LSD.
I need to find all the drugs. Make sure you don't get the drugs in the candy.
Oh, I know. So I don't. You know this. I've got 2 kids, and I can't wait till they start smoking weed because then I've got free weed.
You're like, look what I found in your room. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm taking this. And then like, go stay at your mom's. I'm so mad. And like, then I'm just going to get stoned and eat pizza. It's going to be fucking great.
Nice. What, God, I'm trying to think of anything else cool that, did you have any, again, so for everybody that joined in during the raid, like I basically been asking all the random weird questions. Like we're asking weird cultural questions. We're learning about culture. We're learning about Tywar. If anybody's like, why is this dick asking just because it's from another country? Why are you asking him stupid shit? That was part of the conversation.
Yeah.
What? Oh shit! Scones, 500 bits. Scones, you delicious man. Thank you so much for the bits. Did you have, or is there a prevalence of any particular type of weird pet that people would have in South Africa when you were younger?
So we have snakes and scorpions and spiders and all sorts of shit running around everywhere, and you pretty much need to throw a stone to hit something that would potentially kill you.
Right.
So people would just go out and be like, look, I've caught this giant fucking snake, and put it in their little snake collecting kit or whatever the fuck these psychos call this shit. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff they would do. I was never into that. I mean, I caught a few scorpions and a couple of spiders and that sort of thing, but then I'd prefer dogs and cats to that noise any day.
Is that would you consider like childhood there? Would you consider, from what you know about American culture, would you consider that to be a little more reckless, like that kids were more apt to go fuck with poisonous, deadly animals? Because that's what is always like. Would it be weird to think like I'm gonna go pick up a poisonous snake? Like, is that a weird thing, or would that?
It's weird. I had a very free sort of. I grew up I spent a lot of time on a farm when I was growing up as well, and I would wake up in the morning and I would just run into the hills, sort of things, and I'd disappear for the entire day, and then I'd come back at night, and I'd be out swimming. Like my parents would know where I was. I'd be swimming, and there's snakes everywhere. The area that baboons. I don't know if you've seen a baboon, but they are not small. And they're actually quite dangerous. And they were all over the place. And there was the odd leopard that was also sort of skulking around here and there.
Yeah.
And I was just off doing my own thing. And that's the kind of lifestyle I had. Now I can't let my kids like do anything. And I think about it like my parents are just like, get the fuck out the house. Don't die. And I'm afraid to let my kids run around my garden. Well, not afraid, but I get nervous. I keep checking up on them, making sure they're not doing stupid shit. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it's reckless. I mean, I had a lot of fun as a kid and having that kind of freedom, but I find I don't think it was overly. I think it was a little bit reckless. I don't think. But I find I'm now unbelievably cautious because I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that the world is at the moment that well, the way that the media is not like
Right.
everything shit is just shoved into your eyeballs. You go on Facebook and there's something shit there. You go on Instagram and there's something shit there, and you look at a newspaper and there's something shit there, and you turn on the news and it's just shit. And I think it just like crams you full of fear
Yeah.
and anxiety. I think that's just what's going on. I don't think I've become a more after my my childhood. I don't think I've become more cautious. I think I've just become more fearful.
Right. And it's because because I grew up in the country, in farmland and out in the middle of nowhere, and
Yeah, next to the Tiger King.
yeah, next to the Tiger King, and so there's virtually no one to really come steal you, like in the way that being in a city, 'cause people, I mean, and it's awful. Like I'm not trying to make light of it by any means. That kids get kidnapped and people get stolen, and like that's a big thing, and it's horrible. Being out in the middle of nowhere, like there was much less risk of that. And like in America, we have some deadly animals, but not nearly to the extreme that other countries do. I don't think. Like we have a handful of poisonous snakes, and we would have like wild dogs and coyotes and stuff like that. Like generally, they tend to stay away from people. Like they're not really going to come after people. And we would get the occasional mountain lion, like bobcats, and like some of the smaller big cats are still roaming around out there. But like I've never seen a bear. Like I know there are bears in the woods out like near where my parents live and grandparents live. Like there have to be bears somewhere, but I've never seen them. And we have black widows and brown recluse spiders, the fiddleback spider. But for the most part, like we don't have anything, like in so many other countries, like things can look at you and you'll die. And that's what I picture, like, because so many especially the way you're describing it, like, because you're in South Africa was a country full of very dangerous animals. And I feel like I would be super paranoid just to walk outside.
It just never occurred to me. That's the main story. I never thought about it. There was obviously practical, there's common sense sort of things that you had to watch out for. Places where you knew it was likely that there might be a snake, so you don't go there.
Right.
Doesn't mean that where you were going to go there wasn't a snake that wasn't going to be there. But that's just it was just having the common sense and to know when there was potential danger and when there wasn't. But yeah, I mean, there's so many times where I saw troops of baboons, and they're big. They're big animals as well. They're not small.
They are very vicious. Like primates tend to, and I don't know if people know this, primates tend to go for the face and the groin when they attack.
They go for your junk.
It's true.
They go for your face, they go for your junk.
They because it's like an attempt to disfigure and ruin your ability to reproduce. It's fucking smart, I guess. I don't know. Like if you've got an enemy, cut off his cock. Done.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to kill them.
You seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
What happened to Theon Greyjoy after he got his dick removed? Nothing much.
Cinder's that's a good question. Cinder's asking, what have you missed most about your last home after you've moved? What is something you're grateful to have moved away from?
The only thing I miss about South Africa is my family. I moved here on my own. No actual family here in New Zealand, so I'm pretty much on my own, and I really do miss them. That's probably been the biggest thing. As for everything else, there's nothing else I miss. My quality of life in New Zealand is leaps and bounds ahead of what it might be in South Africa. I mean, when I left, it was just after the last recession, and I was being told by recruitment agents, don't even come and see us. You're not going to get a job. You're just wasting our time.
Right.
And then I got over here, and I've been having a much better time of it, except for this year where everything's shit all
Right. Right.
quenched itself again. But I to put it, I don't know. You in America might have some idea. New Zealanders don't, because that's not the kind of life that they've lived. But we had bars all over our windows. I mean, we had so many locks on our door. We had laser sensors in our garden. We, when I was coming up to a traffic light, the whole deal was not to drive up to the light and then stop. It was, if you saw it was going to be red, you would slow down and you would slowly drift
Right.
towards the light, so that you were never stationary.
Yeah.
And if you were in a point where you had to be stationary, where you stopped in such a way that you could easily swing out and keep going, right? You didn't want to go right up to the guy's bumper, because if you could, then you couldn't get away.
Right.
Sort of thing.
Right.
That's the kind of life that's that we had in South Africa, and that's the kind of thing I don't lock my car most nights, just because I don't remember. I mean, I used to live in a place which had the front door was pretty much right on the street, and when I left in the morning, I had it wide open, and I came back home, and all my shit was still there.
Right.
Like, the house was just open, people could see it, and it just didn't occur to anybody to actually do anything. It's not to say these things don't happen here, but I mean, we had New Zealand, like 20 people died one year, and that was like 20 people were murdered. Sorry,
Right.
not 20 people died. 20 people actually murdered, and that was news headlines, right? 20 people died and were murdered in 1 year. That's the worst the crime's ever been, sort of thing. It's like that's 50,000 people get
Right.
sorry, not 50,000. Like, but a lot of people get murdered in South Africa, like, every day. I think it's more than 20. And no one gives a shit. But that's how life is.
Yeah. What Ashley was saying, is all of South Africa like that, or is it certain areas, or are there like?
No, some areas are worse than others, but generally that's kind of what South Africa's like. When tourists go to South Africa, you're not seeing South Africa.
Right. They're going to. Is it like Johannesburg?
Johannesburg's by far the worst. The major cities are probably the worst. Just because there's so many people crammed into a tiny little place. A lot of people are unemployed and desperate, and some people are just assholes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, when a tourist arrives in South Africa, you land at the airport, you get in your shuttle or whatever, and you go off to your resort.
Yeah.
Right, and you sit at the beach, or you're doing all the touristy shit. Right, you're not experiencing the country. You're not seeing what everybody's doing day to day. So you're great. I don't know what everybody's complaining about. It's because what you're not noticing when you drive into your resort is that surrounding that resort is a bunch of guys with AKs,
Right.
just all over the place. Right, you don't see them because that would ruin the mystique.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that place is surrounded by armed guards keeping you safe.
Yeah, which is, it's kind of like from what I hear, it's kind of like Mexico. Like, you go to a resort in Mexico. Sorry, Mexico, I don't want to speak ill of your country, but like, you go to a resort in Mexico, and you don't step foot off the resort because it can be extremely dangerous out in the wilds of Mexico.
Yeah, and that's the same one. It's like, I mean, when tourists do go off the sort of the beaten path and try and do their own things, it usually doesn't go well for them.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, they don't understand that their country is different.
Yeah,
Hawaii is
like
also like that.
Hawaii is
really?
Honestly, like, I've had a lot of people go to Hawaii, and they've said that too. That Hawaii is beautiful. It's expensive as shit to live there. It is full of crime and homeless people. Like, as soon as you step out of the resort areas, like, it's shitty. Like, the whole, like, the not expensive part, like where all the rich people live, is beautiful. But as soon as you get out of that, like, the rest of it is awful, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and it's not. It's weird how some places are like that and some places are Thailand. And Thailand's like a third world country almost. Well, no, it pretty much is. Um, everybody's kind of living in shit, but they are so nice.
Right.
They are so nice. Like you get out of the hotel and you can, and yeah, of course they're a little bit annoying because they're trying to hook their shit to you and they want you to buy their I don't know, whatever. But they're just trying to make it. They're just trying to make money. They're not doing it to be mean or anything. But they're such nice people. Like they were just always nice people, always friendly, always just trying to help you. I mean, I went there when my daughter was 1, and she was a fat white baby. Compared to a Thai person, like white people are bigger than Thai people.
Right.
And she was like this enormous fucking 1-year-old. And they couldn't get enough of her. They just wanted to pinch all her fat. And they're so nice, and you never get the impression that you're at any kind of danger because they're just so welcoming.
Yeah.
But if you go to South Africa, like there's a lot of cultural tension. There's a lot of race tension. When I went back in 2016, in December 2016, you could feel like how just otherwise people were.
Right. Is it actually? Let me ask this, and you think about this. I don't want to forget my question. We're going to do our battle.
Yeah.
Is there? So the question is going to be: Is there a lot of tension toward tourists? So you think on that. Let's do our battle right quick. We have 38 allies versus 3 enemies. I think we can do it. Killer Ginger is a chicken. What the fuck? We are victorious. Ashley with Archer Scrolls. Dude, you got the kill. Steam Job and Tywar and Killer Ginger. You got the kills.
No.
Dude, we win. Let's see. Which direction? Treasure chest. I'm going to put down... I'm going to put down my tank. We're going to work on our tank. Tank. Right there. Get in, baby.